Hey y'all, it's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and today we're going to be decorating our Little Red Wagon. Now I will tell y'all, since the last video, I did go back and use some E6000 here and on each of the wheels to make sure they were secure. I just turned over my wagon and dropped E6000 right down in here. And you really should paint the insides of these if this is going to be showing. Where mine is going to be sitting, it's not going to show, but we're going to get started decorating this Little Red Wagon today. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take and get 2 foam blocks from the Dollar Tree. No, Dollar Tree does not pay me to say this or do this. And you just want 2 of the squares, and you want to be able to, I'm going to try to sit this where I can show y'all as we're building it. Now, you want to set one kind of towards the back of the wagon and one kind of towards the front, because we're going to fill all of this in, and you want your blocks to be above your pan so that you can build out on your arrangement. So we're going to take some hot glue and we're going to drop it in the bottom of our pan, and I may have to get another stick of hot glue. And if you want to, you can put some E6000 down as well. And I'm going to just put that down, drop my first block in there and press it down, making sure it's lined up where I want it. You can use pool noodles for this, okay? You can use pool noodles in here, and you just want to make sure they're built up enough to rise above where you're going to put your blocks. In other words, you want to make sure your pool noodles come up as high as these do. Okay, so we're going to put the glue gun down. We aren't going to need that. Now you could use E6000 underneath those foam blocks, or you could use Aleene's tacky glue below those blocks. Okay, all right. Next thing I want to show you is how I make my little picks. Okay, I have these and I have some of these made up, and I always make things in 3s, and the reason why I do is because that way you can kind of center things around. Now, the first thing we're going to do to make our picks is I went and got several of these flowers for our arrangement from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take my pliers or wire cutters, and I'm going to cut off the flowers. Some of them I'm going to cut low, some of them I'm going to cut up here, because I'm on them different heights, and you'll see why. Now I'm going to take these extra pieces that are left on here, and I'm going to clip them off, the long ones, and I will take and go right up to the base, bend that over, pull it down, and begin pulling it away where it makes it longer, and I'll clip right there at the base. Now, I save these, and I save these. Can you see those? I save those, and I save these. Now these, I'm going to take my flowers I just cut and set them to the side. And I'm going to take all my extra little wire pieces I just cut and put them to the side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make one of these. I'm getting all my pieces over here. Okay, I got one of my little stems that I just cut. I got a piece of floral wire that's about, can you see that? About 4 inches long. And then I cut 2 pieces of ribbon. It doesn't matter what size these ribbons are. And I dovetailed them on the ends. Both of them I did. See that? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and fold this, scrunch it up right there. Now I'm going to turn this end up and this end up, because this has wire in it. It's kind of going to stay where I want it to go. And I just make like a little V like that. Okay, now I'm going to take my other color, do the same thing, scrunch it down, then fold up my little V one way and then pull up the other way. And then I'll pinch right there and make that flat. Okay, now I'm going to take that V and this V and lay them together and scrunch them up. And then I'm going to take my little wire piece that I cut off the flowers, and I'm going to take the end that has, it doesn't matter which end you use, you're just going to take that and stick it up in there. Okay? And you're going to scrunch everything up around that really tight. And then you're going to hold it right here with your wire sticking out. Then you're going to take your small piece of wire and start wrapping it around just about. Okay, I'm not sure where that left off, but we wrapped our little wire around our piece, and now we're twist tying right here, just like we would a loaf of bread. And then we'll bring those ends together, clip off the excess, get rid of that, and then we're going to take that little piece that's metal right there and we're going to flip it back and push it back down with our thumb so that that doesn't stick you anywhere. And then we're going to turn it over, and this is what we got. That don't look too pretty, but watch. When we pull out this side and we kind of turn the ribbon around facing towards the front like we want it, and then we pull out this side, and then we pull up this one and this one, then we have our cute little pick all made up. Now don't worry, we're going to make one more pick in case you missed part of that in the video on how to wrap that. This one we're going to be taking about, can you see how much tooling I have there? That's about 2 hand lengths long. And I'm going to take and fold it in half, and I'm going to gather it with my fingers just like this right here. Okay, gather it just like this, and just kind of hold it with your fingers right there. Okay, then I'm going to take my wire from my flowers and I'm going to stick it down into that, and then I'm going to take my wire, floral wire, and I'm going to wrap it around one time, and then I'm going to kind of hold everything I got with this hand, and I'm going to wrap around just like that and go around just like this with, I wrapped that one the wrong way, so I'm going to go back the other way. Wrap it like that, and then you have 2 little wires left out right there, and you're just going to twist tie those down just like you would a loaf of bread until that tightens up. Then you can take it and trim the excess off, or just lay it down flat just like that, and this is what you got. Then to make that look really pretty, you just take and stick your hand in there and open that loop up, and it'll make a pretty little pick just like that. And this is what we're going to use in our little wagon as we start decorating it. Now, I picked up several different, I picked up one roll of this, which is tooling. You can pick any color. This came from the Dollar Tree. I picked up one roll of the printed ribbon and one roll of the orange ribbon. These are of the choice of colors, whatever color you want to use. Now, I'm going to tell you how I usually start out building my flower arrangements when I do them. Is I always kind of lay out, I'm reaching over here grabbing my other picks that I already made. I always take and lay out everything I have in piles of what they are. And so, like, I just called these off of that one bundle. I'll have those laying in a pile. So I'm going to start with my height first. Can y'all see the little wagon? Do I have y'all where you can see it? Let me turn y'all just a little bit. There. Y'all need to see more of it than you do me. Okay, so I start with my height first to find out how tall I really want it to be. And this, I kind of figure it's going on a table. And so I picked up a packet of this baby's breath that had some hay in it, and I just start sticking that stuff in. And that's about the height I want if it's going to sit on a table. And because my wagon's low, I don't want to build it up too big up here, because then that'll take away from my wagon down here. So I'm going to just start sticking pieces in. And basically I bought 6 bundles of flowers, and then I bought a few different pumpkins and some corn, and then some of my flowers had like the little acorn in it, and some of them had these little guys like this. I dropped one on the floor. These little guys like this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of arrange it, and I also bought a 6-pack of these shiny pumpkins like this. I think it was a 6-pack or 5-pack, not sure. But you're going to watch me just arrange this, and I'm not going to do too much talking, but unless I come to a place where I feel like you really need to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm going to stick in one of my baby's breath over here on this side, and that'll kind of give me a guideline for how tall I want things to go. Now, the next thing I do is I'm going to take some of these little leaves that I got off of my bundles, and I'm going to take and stick one in the back. And what I'm looking for is I don't want to I want to make sure this is covered up. So I'm trying to look for my length in the back. I set that down on the side, and I don't want my leaves to come too far out the back because I don't want my wagon to get lost. The same goes for up here in the front. So I'm going to get my length on my front right here, and this is my length on the back, this is my height. Now we're going for side to side on the wagon, okay? So I'm gonna grab some more leaves. Let me find some more leaves. Trying to get some of the shorter ones, because I cut everything at different lengths. Okay, so I'm gonna take and stick this in from the side, and I'm kind of measuring and looking to see. Now, like I said, I don't want my little wagon to get lost in there, so that one's a little long and I don't want to cut it. So let me try using this one, and I'm just sticking that down inside that foam, and I want to play the side of this wagon pretty close to the edge of the wagon, because I don't want to come way over, because I want my wagon to be seen. That's the big thing. And then I come over here to the other side, and the reason why I left this gap right here is so that if I needed to bring things in from the side a little closer, then I could stick it in there, and that's kind of going to give me the edge of my wagon wheels. And that one's a little bit, still a little bit too much. And that's just about right where I want it to be. Now, let's set this down, and I'm going to just start building this up and letting y'all see kind of how I go through the process of adding stuff to this. Okay? And let me see if I can't get it a little closer. If you're pushing down from the top, you'll want to kind of support your wagon on the bottom with your hand under here, because you want to make sure that you don't damage all the work you've already done. And I'm just kind of looking for different flowers to pull in at different lengths. Now, you'll start, if your flowers aren't going in your thing really good, and if your flower wire is bent, take and cut it at an angle like that, so that when you go up here to stick it in, it goes in fairly easy, and that you're not having to struggle with getting that into your foam block. And see how it starts filling in? It really doesn't take as many flowers. I'm going to put some red ones on the corners, and I do cut all of mine at an angle. I try to cut them that way when I'm doing it, but I'm going to stick red ones in on the corners to kind of give me some color going on there, a color pop. And then let's do the other side. Do I have some more red ones? Red, 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 where are you, red ones? They're reddish orange, they're not really red. Now this flower and this flower are a lot similar, so what I'm going to do is pull this one out, put it on the other side, because I kind of want to make the sides not matchy-matchy, but, you know, somewhat uniform. And if you see me cutting the edges off, that's what I'm doing, is I'm cutting those at an angle. And then we'll put an orange one there, and we'll stick an orange one on the other side. Where's another short one? And if you cut off a good piece of this, save it, because that's what you can make your picks out of, like we did already. And we're making this little wagon so that we can take it apart in a couple of months and have it decorated up for Christmas. There's one of my yellow ones. Get one of these big yellow ones in here. And see how it's starting to fill in right there? It doesn't really take many flowers if you pick the bigger ones. And if you see like your leaves disappearing in there and you want those to be seen, kind of move them on the top and kind of turn your flower and work your flower around that so that it fills in the hole and you don't see the green. And then your flower pieces are facing up. So we put 2 yellow ones. Let's put another red one in here. And there we go. So now let's turn it to the other side. And we see what we've got on this side. So we put 2 of these big yellow ones in. Let me get them cut first. And just kind of support your little wagon with your hand as you're pushing those flowers in. And then we need an orangish one for that center. And I always take my little leaves and push them closer to the top because that way they help kind of fill all of this in. Now, trying to keep my head out of there, you guys. Now, let's see. I've got some of these little wispy things that I'm going to put up here at the top. And another one on this side. And let's move to the back. We've got a spot here we need to add a pretty big flower to. And I'm going to stick that in there. Kind of fluff those flowers if you need to. And then go back around here to the front, and you're going to need to do that up here. Kind of push that flower in there, wiggle it around and give yourself some room. And then you're going to need to, let's see, what else have I got here? Okay, I've got some of my pumpkins, and I've got a bigger pumpkin. So I'm going to start, before I fill in anything else, I'm going to kind of see where I want my pumpkins to sit. And I want this one to kind of sit like that. So what I'm going to do, because these are styrofoam, I'm going to take one of the pieces I just got off my flower, stick it in the bottom. If it doesn't go in, make yourself a little hole. I just popped a little hole in there. I have my little pliers that are for jewelry that's got the little round tips. I just poke a hole, but you can just use something to poke that hole with to put your little stem inside your pumpkin. And then you're going to want to push, then I take it off of there, take my little stem, stick it where I want to, and push it in. If you push it in on your pumpkin, it's just going to keep going up inside your pumpkin. And then I take and put that pumpkin on there and let it sit there. Now I'm not hot gluing these in, that way I can use this just like that. Now I'm not hot gluing this stuff in because I want to be able to take it off and I want to be able to use it for next season. So I know I'm going to use the styrofoam in there at Christmas time, so I'm not so worried about that. So the next thing I'm going to do is kind of see, I got another little pumpkin here. Do I want that one there or do I want the green one? And I think I'm going to go with, let's see, we got a couple of things here. Sorry about that. Okay, we got a little white pumpkin. That looks more proportionate. I think I'm going to go with the white one right there. And then let's make a little stick for it. Okay, so it'll stay where we want it to stay. We're going to stick one end in our pumpkin, just like that. And then we're going to take the other one and stick it down in here. So now that I know I got it on there, now I'm going to stick it down into my foam. And I'm going to stick it on my pumpkin next. And then I'm going to readjust this one. And then I'm going to add one of these little guys right in here to kind of fill in that gap. See how we're filling in the gap? Alright, you guys, I'm not sure where that left off, but here we go. We're going to stick this little guy right up here in the top to just give it a little bit of height. And we need something right here for a little bit of height that's going to look good from both sides. So let me see what else I have over here. Why don't we get another stick of this baby's breath right here. Let me see if I got a little piece of it. I'm going to take some of that and stick it right down in there. Now, here's what we look like from this side, and here's what we look like from this side. Now, we need something right here because this just looks like you went blam and went flat up against it. So we don't want it to look like that. So unless we can take this and bring it out some, and then we need to do something else there because we definitely don't want to look like we just went flat. I'm looking for something. You want to keep your dimension going throughout your piece, and you can just play with it back and forth until you get it about like what you want it. So this is what we have. You guys, I think that turned out really cute all the way around. Let me make sure got all those things fluffed out. How cute is that for our little red wagon? So what do you think? How cute. Okay? So this does it for this episode of the Crafty Art Shack. We hope you liked our video and hope you will subscribe to our channel. And I think this just turned out absolutely adorable. So join us on the next episode of the Crafty Art Shack, and we hope you've enjoyed this episode. We'll see you later. Bye! I'm going to go ahead and turn off my glue gun because I don't think I'm going to need it for next year. Did I just put my head in the way? Okay, so I'm just going to take that little pumpkin and stick it right on. Know that this is what I'm going to do. For any of you know me, I have all girls, and the first one of them to comment on my video is the one that's going to get to take this home to her house for Thanksgiving, and that'll make it fair. So whoever watches this one first and comments down in the comment section of my girls will get to take this to their house. And who knows, maybe we'll be giving one away to you next, because we got some more fall ideas that we're going to work on,